Greetings, gamers! Welcome to part number 48 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 4, Genealogy of the Holy War, and in today's episode I have a lot of unit movement. There's actually not a whole lot of fun going on over here besides Arthur's fight to the south. The rest of my units just have to get prepared for the battles to come, and let alone the fact that, oh, you know what does this guy have? Just a horse slayer? I don't think that's going to be all that scary, grand scheme. I have to basically thin out Darna, seize it. It's going to be a while because Selith is way out of position, which is kind of, you know, whatever. I did not want you critting there, Oify. Especially with the javelin. Are we joking? Okay, so Ares can move on up. Lester can move on up. Besiege. So he's going to have a 48 attack on Johan. I don't think that's worth taking. He's not going to KO. It's going to be very close, but he's not going to KO. Still not necessarily worth it. Alright, Julia. Go ahead and move Leaf and Friends first. And Leaf has to move as far as possible right now. This is going to be the last return I spam, only because, for multiple reasons. One of those being that she kind of doesn't want to be broke, and repairing them, staves particularly, becomes kind of a little bit of a tricky thing after a while. So Arthur has to move one down. Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to leave Fee right next to Arthur for this phase, because I want him to attack all that he can. So he's going to be able to attack everybody except for these three, which is nice. I do have to move Patty and Shannon back, and that's the end of my turn. I'm all caught up on units. You know, interestingly enough, I actually had a +2 HP or +2 speed level up on Arthur. You don't really see that too often in this game. And a funny note to put, I remember when I was playing Path of Radiance on fixed mode. Was I playing it on fixed mode? Taste the howling gale, traitor. I can't remember. But on fixed mode, you can actually get +2 level ups. And that only happens, I must retreat for now, if you're on fixed mode and you have a very high growth rate in a particular growth, but yet you miss out on a level twice in a row. Then you'll get it basically to a +2 to that stat. It's hard to explain. The way to manipulate this is with the bands, the rings, or especially the Night Ward in that game. It's actually really fun. I love fixed mode. Gonna go back to that one of these days. Gonna go back to that. I would love to do like Iron Mans of all of these games. But I figured a good old Let's Play of every game I find enjoyable, first and foremost, would probably be good. Taste the wrath of thunder, rebel! Iryu, I really don't think you're a threat to Arthur. In fact, I think the only one that is kind of a threat is the one that has fire. I must retreat for now. And that's only because she actually will have a hit percentage on a good old Arthur. Was that another +2 speed level up? Taste the raging flames, brigand! Traitor, rebel, brigand. Arthur, you are multiple different things today. I must retreat for now. So another reason why to pair units is actually really good, even in Gen 2, is because something I neglected to say is that your units, when paired, get critical. As long as they are right next to the unit, they get plus 20 critical on top of skill. So that's actually pretty insane. Very good, very good. Worth using. Worth the pairs and whatnot. Very nice. This is very much needed experience points for Arthur. Celos phase has begun again. Like I said before, this is just going to be kind of a long-winded set of phases because I have a lot of moving to do. It really can't be helped either because I'm not using Seliph with the leg ring, which does mean that this is going to take longer naturally. Lightbrand? What? Jugdral bungled it? Bungled it? Who says this? Jugdral bungled it, did he? Darn, it's my city, mine. Nobody will ever take it from me. Well, I'm definitely not taking it from you if you're proccing Pavis. Alright, a little bit of experience points there. Putting Dermot right there is exactly where I want him to be. I'm not really sure why Bramzol and... wow, amazing. No, that is mine. All mine. Why these bosses in Gen 2 don't have 2 range. Bramzol is a pathetic excuse of a boss. I'm just going to throw it out there. Alright, the rest of these units can just move on down. Ares has a conversation with Seliph. I don't remember if this has any significance to it, other than story. I could recruit Tinny here, but... okay, so how much movement does she have? 5? I think what I'll do first is I'll just move Leaf and Friends. And Finn. I can move him out of the castle to join the fray. He's never actually joining the fray, but you know. Alright, 5 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I should be able to move him right here, and he should be fine. Brave Lance on one of you, yahoos. Level up, HP, that's all she got. Not exactly good, let's just say that. So this following turn is going to be relatively easy. I'll be able to recruit Tinny, finish off the last unit. Everything will be perfectly fine. I don't really have anybody else to move. Shannon and Patty can't really move any further without incurring the wrath of the rest of the mages, including Tinny. Like I said, I just don't want that. Now, when it comes to the Leonster Castle being seized, I don't know if it's going to be destroyed or seized. If it's just seized, that's actually going to be pretty good. But I don't remember, honestly. After I... yeah. So... Seliph is going to move upward. It only has a little bit more to go, so that's pretty good. Ulster and friends can keep on moving. These units can finally move forward. Not as though they're going to be, you know, offensively useful necessarily. And no one to heal. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and talk to Tinny. Excuse me, but that pendant of yours.
Huh? It's a memento of my mother.
Really? Then you're Tinny. Oh, I finally found you.
Who are you?
Here, maybe this will clear things up. This pendant of mine's exactly the same as yours, and I've had it my whole life.
You're right, but what are you saying?
See, decades ago, my mother was a warrior fighting in Sigurd's liberation army, and after the war, she fled to Celeste with her children. When I was little, my mother and my newborn sister disappeared. I was left behind with nothing but this pendant. I only recently learned what really happened. It was King Bloom of Ulster. He abducted them. He took my family from me. The rumors I've heard all said Mother had died a while ago, but they also said my sister is still alive. That's you, Tinny. I finally found you after all these years. I came all this way just to see you again.
I never even knew Bloom did that to Mother. It makes sense, though. I can't remember much of Mother, but I know I never saw her smile or laugh. You're my brother. Oh.
I don't suppose you'd like to lay down your arms and join our army, Tinny. We've still got so much to talk about.
Thank you, brother. I never did want to fight.
And I get Tinny. And she is a mage. She's actually the exact same as her mother, Tiltu. So she is a mage that promotes to a war mage, which I find to be I find it to be a hilarious class, right? It's basically a mage knight without the horse. And of course, she does get stave, so it's not exactly the same. So she does still have staff utility in promotion, but she does get swords as well as the animatomes. So a mage knight basically gets a horse instead of the staff. And let me tell you, if I had to forego healing in this game entirely, I would still want every one of my units mounted. That's just how good being mounted is. So Tinny is unfortunately not somebody I would rate as a good unit. She starts at level 3 with 28 HP, 105 HP percent growth, 0 base strength, 15% strength growth, 8 base magic, 35% magic growth, 10 base skill, 80% skill growth, 10 base speed, 85% speed growth. At least she's got good statistics on that front. 11 skill, 60% skill growth, or 11 luck, 60% luck growth. 1 defense, 20% defense growth, so she's not really going anywhere with that. 6 resistance, 15% resistance growth. She has minor Tordo and minor Forseti blood. She comes with Elf Thunder and Thunder. You can pass down the Thoron to her, but that's only if her mother and father... Let's see, who would her father have to be to give her Thunder? I really don't know. I don't think it's possible to pass down Thoron at all. In that case, I don't think she can ever use it, which is pretty interesting. She has a talk with Seliph. I think this gives them a lot of love points, so I never do this. She has 5 movement, 5,571 funds. Wrath. So user deals critical hits in a pinch when she's at half health or less. She will always crit. As long as she hits. And then she has Adept, may strike foe 2 successive times if user is faster. And she has critical. User can inflict critical hits, doubling attack power. This unit has a very high skill ceiling. She can become very fantastic. If you were to raise her, even without a mount, she can take on hordes of enemies because she has the funny little ability to always crit upon counter. So she's promoted, she can use the Thoron. That means that she's going to have exceptional might, exceptional damage. She's always going to crit. She's good. I'm not saying she's not good. It's just that compared to somebody like Arthur, she doesn't really compare. Even if Arthur did not have the Lewin pairing of Lewin and Tiltu, his father, he would still be better than her because he still turns into a mage knight. And in fact, I would say that he's leagues and bounds better than her because of that. So there is some use to her. I'm not going to say she's useless, but in my humble opinion, she's just a unit that I pretty much instantly bench. In every single playthrough, I've used her a couple of times. I've never gotten her to promotion, so it's not like I've seen that necessarily, but I've gotten Tiltu to promotion. That was tedious as all get out. As all get out. It's not something I would ever recommend anybody doing. Though, some folks like doing stuff like that just for the fun of it. And I'm not at all gonna tout that as being a terrible thing. Or say that, you're not playing Fire Emblem correctly, because really, though I don't like grinding and I don't like certain little aspects of like the ideals that people have towards characters and growing characters and stuff like that, doesn't mean you have to be exactly the same. That's just a very silly thought, and it's in all retrospect. Talk. Seliph, at long last, it's you. And who could you be? They call me the Black Knight, Ares. Perhaps you would recognize me better, however, as the son of Eldigan. Huh? It cannot be! You mean the legendary Lord Eldigan of Nordian, do you? The very same. I am the son of Eldigan the Lionheart, the man whom your father killed in coldest blood. My noble mother, the Lady Grayen, died racked with grief and rage at Sigurd. It is high time you knew my family's pain. So, the mother is exposed here. That's pretty great. I'm glad that her name is said. I've never looked at the other patches or if this is in the localization or anything like that, because I have heard that there's a lot of hints at Rekessis being his mother, but it's kind of like joke hints in the story or something of that nature. So I don't know if this Lady Grayen is actually named in the original, but I don't particularly care. This is just another aspect of localization that I find to be good, if it is a aspect of localization. Granted, if this is Lady Grayen, this same lady is in the original, and she is the actual confirmed mother of Ares here, the incest thing between the two kind of makes me a little bit sick. Especially because so many people push it. It's almost like you sickos, I'm not necessarily saying the viewers here, but the sickos who constantly tout that kind of stuff want it and are like secretly hoping for it. And if you are of that mind, there's a problem with you. It's just like how there's certain websites, forums of Fire Emblem I won't jump into. And it's because I've had personal arguments and fights with some of the people on there because of lollies and people liking lollies. I don't care if Tiki's 10,000 years old. She still looks like a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old, depending on her incarnation. If you are attracted to her, you're attracted to kids. You're a pedophile and should be put down. Jesus says you're supposed to be hung by a millstone and cast into the sea. Either way, my point in that matter is if you're a sicko, you need to stop, and that's disgusting. I'm very certain that this game only implies it because it did happen, historical fact, it did happen. It's not necessarily trying to say that that's a good thing or it's promoting it in any way, shape, or form. I don't understand, Ares. I understood it. Your father and mine were the closest of friends. As tragic as their end was, I don't believe our fathers could ever have begrudged each other. That's impossible. Sigurd was my father's mortal foe. This is all I've known my entire life. Please listen, Ares. Would you consider joining my army? I know we can resolve this misunderstanding if we just give it some time. I hold the late Lord Eldigan in the utmost respect, just as my own father did. Please, Ares, please understand this. Seliph, very well. I suppose I can stay my hand for now. However, be warned, should I learn that even a single word of your claims is false, your life is forfeit in your father's place. Do I make myself clear, Seliph? If that happens, then do as you must. Ares, I wish you could know just how ecstatic our fathers would be to know we've met at last. If only we'd met under better circumstances. If I'm not mistaken, Ares does have to go back to this castle for something in particular, very important. So even though I did move him down to talk to Seliph, I do have to move him back up. Looks like they're reaching it next turn. Then I'll have my answer. I'm not resetting for this. I don't care if Leonster is taken or not. Just call it a foible of mine, I suppose. Ares can keep on moving upward with Seliph, and then the rest of my units can move down. Alright, Finn. Yeah, these units are so out of place, I don't even know why I'm still moving them. But it's not like it's really hurting to move them. Besides, these two have to stay outside so that they are capable of pairing, and as soon as possible too. All right, you two keep on pairing. Yeah, these two can actually sit right next to each other. Fee is going to sit right next to her pair. Tinny, like I said, she can actually just go and sit at this castle for no reason other than to just be at the castle. Recover 1 HP. Might seem like a little bit of a waste, and of course the recover staff is actually kind of a bit pricey to repair. I'm not in any wise going to repair this anytime soon, but it is nice for the experience points this time. I'm actually just very excited that the overwhelming majority of my weapons have crit on them, and that's just so wonderful. Okay, so it's a seize. What this means is that I could seize that castle and so forth. I don't think I'm going to do that because it's just way too far out of the way. And in retrospect, that's unfortunately how this map is designed. It's sort of like the previous map. You're not really going to seize every castle unless you want to take a lot of time out of your busy schedule to do so. Alright, Tinny, you can go ahead and guard Fort Melgen. Johan. Yep, you can keep to the road. And Finn can keep moving. Alright. Perfect. A little bit of experience points on Julia as well. Julia, I find, is actually not that hard to promote or level in general. Yeah, he can't do anything right yet. And the reason why that is because she has access to Nosferatu and some pretty good instances where she can use it to her great benefit. I actually think it would be a boon to send Patty back to give that gold to Leaf. I don't really know. These two are not going to be useful at all over here. I wish I would have thought about this beforehand. But that is the end of my phase, and mistakes happen, life goes on. I'm not perfectly planning this particular game. I find perfect planning of Fire Emblem to be a little bit much. A little bit much. It is fun for some instances, I will grant that, but just not at all what I'm wanting to do. And it is time to seize Darna. So this is Darna, the legendary city. Long ago, at the peak of the Old Holy War, Darna was the last bastion of the Resistance army. It was the last free land in Jugdral in battle after battle. The overwhelming might of the Lopter Empire had devastated the Resistance. Ultimately, the last of the Resistance soldiers barricaded themselves within Darna's walls. Battered and wounded as they were nonetheless determined to fight to the bitter end. But then, suddenly, there was a miracle. From the heavens descended 12 gods. I see. The only reason why I'm not correcting the whole gods motif in this game is because as you play, you find out that they're not at all gods. And it's kind of interesting because this is just the trope of Fire Emblem, is that the supposed gods behind the scenes aren't gods. Even Ashira, like in the Tellius games. And it's rumored that Ashira is meant to be like the overarching quote-unquote goddess of all of the Fire Emblem worlds, and that her right hand warriors, the dragons, are the like protectors of each individual land underneath her power. And I find that to be interesting, but in all retrospect, even Ashira is not herself an actual quote-unquote god, because God is all-powerful, all-knowing, ever-present, ever-capable. The only thing God cannot do is sin. So the fact of the matter is that she's not any of those things. She's not all-powerful, ever-present, omnipotent. She's not all-capable. She's defeated by Ike, a man with a sword. Like, get out of here, you know. It was almost basically like they were jumping off of the hype of something like God of War. And I really think that that's part of the reason, because at the time God of War was just really big. On the PS2, I think, was the first God of War. That's how little I know of the series. But other games of that kind of thing influence that, and I just find it funny. I really do find it funny. I know this is not really relevant per se for what I'm dealing with right now in the game, but I just thought I'd bring it up. Because otherwise I would be correcting it. It's useless. Who bestowed upon 12 young heroes miraculous weapons and immense powers. Thus were born the 12 Crusaders, the heroes who led the resistance for victory. That was the legendary miracle of Darna, yes? Yeah, the very same. Even as we speak, Selim, another miracle is dawning upon us. Just as the resurrection of Lopter looms on the horizon, so too are the Crusaders themselves, arising in our world once more. I beg your pardon? Don't worry, Seliph. You'll understand soon enough. I pray that Lean is still unharmed. I must hasten back to Darna. Yes. So you actually have to visit Darna with Ares, which is actually perfectly fine, because I would like Ares to go ahead and go through the arena. See, this is why I shouldn't have repaired the Brave Sword. Ares is going to have to go through the arena with the Mistleton, and I'm not so happy about that, because it's just waste. Alright, these units here, all of them are virtually useless in this fight. And why that happens to be is just because... Okay, I'll wait with you right here. I guess I have to wait here. Is because Arthur is going to be taking on pretty much the brunt of the forces. I mean, I guess there is something that some of them can do. For instance, dealing with the armor knights that are headed back, because, again, it's going to be a while before Seliph actually reaches and does anything of note. Alright. Johan. Finn has finally caught up. Murphy and Arthur. Go ahead and move in a bit more. And Ares is last, but again, he can't really do anything right at this moment. I'm just going to go ahead and end my turn. Ulster phase. They are the last group of enemies in this particular map. And I'm going to be fighting very soon one of the stronger bosses I have faced thus far. In fact, I think I would like to look at this boss. Bloom. He is a Baron, level 25, so he has a 25% chance to just say nope to your damage. He has an S rank in Thunder because he has the Mjolnir. Now, he does have the Silver Blade, but I'm not entirely sure why. The Mjolnir is just always what he's going to use. 90 hit, 30 weight, or 30 might, 1-2 range, 10 weight. So the Holy Tomes of Forseti, Mjolnir, and the Valflame all follow the same kind of idea, right, behind the original tomes. So wind is 2 weight, fire is, or thunder is 7 weight, fire is 12 weight. They're all 5 weight difference from each other. Forseti is 5 weight, Mjolnir is 10 weight, and Valflame is 15 weight. So they're weighted more heavily than their regular tome counterparts, which does mean that there is still some value. Some. Not a lot, but some value in using the lighter tomes, especially for battles where you don't need a tome as strong as Forseti. Grand scheme of things, somebody like Arthur, once he gets the Thief Band, like I've been prating on about, is... He would never need to use any other tome. It's just not going to happen. The Mjolnir here is giving him a plus 20 skill and a plus 10 speed, and he only has a 46 attack with it, so he's nowhere near as strong as Reptor, but it doesn't matter because pretty much nobody right now can deal with Bloom. Besides Arthur. Arthur actually should have a pretty reasonable time to just downright KO Reptor pretty quick. He's got weapon triangle advantage against the Mjolnir. So an extra 20 hit for him and an extra 20 avoid for him against the Mjolnir. So that does mean that the Mjolnir is only going to have maybe like an 80, around a 70 something hit on him. And unfortunately there's no terrain to take advantage of. But it also means that Arthur is pretty much not capable of missing here. So that is to keep and bear in mind. But with that being said, I think it is time that I go ahead and bid my farewells, as the assault, I was trying to say onslaught, or onslaught and assault at the same time. Oh my gosh. Of Ulster is going to have to wait until the next available episode. I want to thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe, depending on your platform of choice. And while you're at it, leave a comment down below, and have a great and glorious day gaming.